Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well, and it's time. It's been a while since you've done a nice live streamed interview and conversation. Fresh off the release of her brand new record, The Apple Tree Under the Sea, we have none other than Hemlock Springs. And oh my God, I'm such a dummy over here. I'm gonna live fix a thing I typoed.
Oh,
There we go. I left it on screen. It said Hemlock Spring. I just fixed it now. Sorry. And you're just talking about how professional I am, and I'm very much not. I'm falling apart live. Okay, so your new record is out now.
yes.
I will be dropping the review tomorrow, but I figured beforehand it would be cool to get some insight from you on the album because it's a very fun record. It's a very interesting record. There's been so much growth between this project and going, gone. Growth that I didn't necessarily expect. I don't know whether or not to start with what you're doing now or to really kind of like maybe get more of a sense of how we got to this point, because as much as I have been, following you, like many people have since like Girlfriend popped off, a lot of your origin prior to that time is a little unknown to me. And I figured I would just want to hear it kind of like straight from you. You've had this like very kind of interesting viral come up off of like uploading these tracks on SoundCloud. But going back further, even before that, when did sort of your general interest in songwriting and producing kind of begin?
Yeah, totally. It started in high school, I would say. I'm still friends with them. Their name is MJ.
Mm.
MJ was a freshman, I was a sophomore, and we were in chorus together, and everybody had their own cliques and groups and stuff, and we
That's
didn't.
how
So
chorus is. That's so chorus.
naturally,
That's
that's
so
so
chorus coded.
chorus. So naturally came together and they showed me GarageBand and they showed me songs that they did. And I was like, oh, I think I can do this. And so I on my iPad, I would just kind of like, just do random things and just like, okay, well, that's done. But I never thought it would be like a job. I never thought I would do it as a job.
Hmm.
I went and I studied biology. I went to college at Spelman. And I studied biology, still just doing like tracks on the side, but not really thinking that they're tracks or anything and stuff like that. And then graduated, went to Dartmouth, was doing my master's, and then that's when nothing really, honestly, I think like nothing, there was no like, oh, I'm going to be a singer. It was just like, oh, I'm just going to do these tracks. And now there's I mean, I used to do SoundCloud, but now there's TikTok. I'm just going to switch it up now. And that switch up became the reason why I'm here today. So, yeah.
Right. And these early iterations of your music on GarageBand and wherever else you might have taken it beyond that, was this mostly like beats and stuff like that, or were these like formal songs with verses and choruses? Did it sort of like were these early versions, not to pile on too many questions, but were these early versions sounding at least a little like the songs that ended up sort of like gaining traction for you, or did it take a little bit of time of development and trial and error to kind of reach a certain sound?
Yeah, it took trial and error. Like I remember just I remember I could pretty much come up with verses and like a chorus and stuff, but I couldn't really produce yet. I would say probably until college when I was like, I think that I can hum a chord and I can sing this melody and I can match what chord matches with the melody that I just came up with. And it was a matter of doing that and like going on YouTube, being like, okay, how do you make a song? Like what's the process? And researching, I'm like, okay, I think I can do that. And
Hmm.
then just doing it, but nothing that I was like, I don't know, like I didn't think when I was doing that those things, I didn't think it was songwriting or producing at all. I just thought that I don't know what I thought I was doing. I just thought I was doing a hobby. I was like, oh, like
Right.
I got my little hobby going on. People got their like like sports stuff or to go to parties or whatever, I got the corner of my room where I can just make anything and be in any world that I want. And so that it was a nice I was like I do miss those times because I feel like I didn't I just kind of just I was like, okay, well, let me just I'll do it because I have nothing going on right now. Should I be doing my biology homework? Oh yeah, but I'm not going to do that. Who cares about that? I want to
Hmm.
do just this random thing because I can. And yeah.
When it comes to like your writing and your artistic process and your sort of like final decisions when it comes to like, putting the last touches on a track and deciding what to drop and what not to drop. Um, would you consider yourself somebody who's, as an artist, like a perfectionist or somebody who's kind of picky? Because, you've taken a very interesting approach to how you've approached this process to eventually releasing an album, considering it has like been several years ago at this point that you sort of had Girlfriend pop off in the way that it did. And some artists' response to that kind of attention is like, I'm just going to drop as much as I can, as often as I can. But you've been, much more kind of sparing and careful about what you dropped and when you dropped it, and sort of like carefully crafted these couple of projects so far, and took your, time doing it. Was it kind of a lengthy process whittling down these projects to the songs that you did eventually put onto them? Was there a lot left on the cutting room floor? Were these songs kind of like labored over for a long time before you decided to put them out into the world?
Oh yeah, I would say it's like yes and I would say yes and no. It's interesting. Like I start a lot of ideas, but I don't finish them. So it
Mm.
quite literally the like, so so are there a lot of ideas? Yes, but they're half-formed ideas. It's
Mm.
not like a full song. And I think those, with the exception of one or two songs, like the songs that are on the album, are the songs that just got finished and we're like, okay, yeah, that this works. But yeah, no, I think that particularly when it was really after Girlfriend that I realized like I was seeing all the comments and how like the songs, because at that point Give Me All Your Love had been out for a minute as well, just
Mm.
how the songs made people feel and kind of I was like, wait a minute, I don't really have like I feel like I don't really know where to go from here, which is why I think I did Stranger Danger and then I did Sever the Blight. And then I ended up not having those on the EP because I'm like, I feel like I'm just doing this. And I would like to have a project where I can establish a world that fans can look into. And I think that if I just keep I feel like if I just keep releasing single, then I'm doing everybody a disservice,
Mm.
and mainly myself. And so yeah, no, I was like, so I would say that I am picky. I thought I wasn't, but I am. I am a little bit picky because I do care about what I put out, as a lot of people do, I'm sure. And I just want to make sure that the world that's being built around the albums makes sense and it's something that I can explain and delve into. And if it's something that I can't do, then I'll probably just work on it more and retract until I have something that I'm like, yes, okay, this is coming together. Let's let's do this.
So, you're talking about having this certain level of pressure about what you release and what you put out into the world once you are kind of conscious or aware of having an audience for what you do, which I think is like natural. But, one thing I wanted to ask you was like, is there an added pressure for you coming from the fact that I feel like and look, I follow a lot of independent artists and a lot of underground artists and talk about a lot of, independent artists on a regular basis. But I feel like for you, for somebody of your size, you have an inordinate amount of like big names and huge professionals and major music stars who like really genuinely fuck with your shit. It's like
Yeah.
there are artists who are 3, 4 times your size and like don't have Chapel Roan like glazing them, don't have like Doja Cat being like, this girl's the shit. Don't have Doechii like coming out of the woodwork, aren't like opening for Ash Nico or whatever. It's like you genuinely seem to be like, an artist in a way. Obviously I don't think personally, I don't think that's going to be the case forever, but, with the way things are going and how good the music is sounding, but, is
Thank
there an
you.
added pressure with like, man, like Grimes is going to hear this,
I'm
it's like,
dead.
yeah,
Honestly, I was like, I honestly no. Like I
Hmm.
think that I don't it's interesting because I think that I don't think about those stuff like when making like songs and stuff. I think that it's weird because I think that I'm thinking of like my personality. I adore like all of the artists that you have mentioned, and I got like yeah when the mention when they started mentioning my name. But I think that for some reason in the studio, I think that I'm able to kind of just okay, it's me, these synths, like this computer or like this keyboard or whatever, and let's try to come up with something that I like and not be or and um I don't know. Having pressure like that is a lot. So I try to and I think that I have a tendency to spiral over like, oh my God, blah 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 blah. So I've tried to put my mind in like a oh my gosh, okay, we're going in, we're making a new song, like let's just have fun and spiral over that instead. And that's helped me a lot. But honestly, it's weird. I don't think I've had that reaction. Now maybe the next time you interview me, I'm like, well, Anthony, now that
Now that
you
you mention
mentioned
it.
it that once. I'm kidding. But yeah. And I mean like at the end of the day, I am so grateful and thankful that whatchamacall that such wonderful artists have shouted me out and have uh, tuned in and listened. And I think but also I think in the back of my mind, like even if that didn't happen, like it would, yeah, like it's like
Mhm.
it's music at that. I like just doing what I'm doing, and um, I that's why they tune into me, I guess, because I'm just jacking off. I don't know, so I'm just continue to do that.
Well, also
But
similar line of questioning. Similar line of questioning for this record. You also ended up kind of like teaming up a bit with Matt Burns, who
yeah.
is a great producer, great DJs, who's worked with a lot of big names himself. How did you end up teaming up with him, like connecting with him for this music, and what? Did his experience, because obviously he's been at this for years,
Yeah.
what did his experience bring to the process of putting this record together? And did that change your creative dynamic at all? Like versus what you would have just kind of put into the music completely on your own? Like how did that kind of like inform the music on this record?
Yeah, totally. It's interesting because I think he reached out to me and he was like, "Oh, like we should do something." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay." And so
Something like a whole album.
I was like, and it was like 2 year. It was I think it was 2 years back because the first well, actually like it's interesting. We worked on an iteration of Girlfriend together. Never came out because I hated it. I'm like,
Mm.
this is not good, Burn. Sorry. And he was like, okay, but
They're not all gonna work
they're
out. You
not all
got
gonna work.
yeah.
But it's interesting because the second song we worked on was Sever the Blight. And
Yeah.
so, and I think that started off very strongly. And we realized like very quickly how each of like how we work. I think he's definitely more of a calm, collected like person, and I'm more of the and I think that works a lot. And I do invade his space a lot because I don't like sitting in the back in studios because I'm like, what are you do? What are you doing? I can't watch you. It's like if I can't watch you do this synth, like this is going to like or if in fact like move over, let me do it. And he's a person who allowed me to do that. So I'm like, great, awesome, fantastic. And so I think that the thing with Burns that's really cool is that I feel that I was like we have similarities, but we're opposites in the sense of like he's very like a how do I say an encyclopedia, I think, of just like music references that I don't really have like at this point. And
Hmm.
so but in a way like in a way it's cool because like he's able to like I can bring in something kind of one dimensional and like we can work on it. It becomes this whole like 3D 3D song, I feel like. But definitely sometimes like he'll be like, "Oh, this sounds like the Phil Collins, blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, oh, never mind. No, no, we're not doing it. I was like, let's not go down that route. I hate the reference route though. It's like it takes the fun out of everything. Like let's have, I mean, because it's like, oh, like imagine like going in the studio and being like, we have to make a song that sounds like this, or we have to make the drums sound like this, or we have to make the synth sound like this. Like, what's the point? I guess for me, I'm like, oh, what's the point? Like, let's have a little freedom. Like, what does this knob do? You know what I mean? Like, things like so. I guess we're different. I think we're different in that sense. That, but what's the call? But I think that he's able to bring a little bit of like a structure to my sometimes like yeah, like sometimes I really don't know. I really don't know what to do, and he's able to be like, okay, POE. Let's go through, let's go through, let's see what chords, what's going on. And I think it was just for us, it was continuously just a back and forth. I sat beside him and we were just like, okay, yeah. And I mean his kids were freaking in the studio sometimes. And it was a nice dynamic. It was a very nice dynamic that just worked from surprisingly worked from the get-go. So I'm very appreciative of him. And yeah, no, I'm very thankful that like I was able to grab him on and drag me along on this process.
Kind of going back to Sever the Blight because that song and its visual has been out for years now at this point. And you saying that's like kind of the second track that you guys worked on together. But from that song, we can like kind of draw back to a lot of the formative themes that kind of ended up being core to this record, almost like the Ren Fair chic look of the video and its costumes and the Apple stuff. And, the more, I think, almost like fantasy inspired angle to a lot of the writing in the lyrics, which I think, just wasn't as much a component on Going Gone. And, I mean, that could have been something that was a fun thing to do for this track. And yet, it's something that sort of seems to inform so many other ideas for other songs on the record. How much of the, world of this album did you already kind of have in your mind when you were writing that track, or how much of it sort of like developed and blossomed as you were kind of completing the rest of the album?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing until
Hey, that's fine.
until literally last January. I was like, oh, I think that I think that I think I have some songs that I think will go together, but I don't really know how they go together. But it's okay. That's what going to the studio is for, and that's what finishing an album is for, right? And it's thank you. And so it took a I would say for me it took a while to get to like just what you call just like getting to the apple tree under the sea. Like I feel like I got there at the last minute. I'm like, okay, religion. Apples. Actually, the title, The Apple Tree Under the Sea, it comes from a commercial. Like, well, I was asked to write a commercial like jingle, and they're like, oh, just like combine random words. And one of it was like one of the verses that I came up with for the demo that I had, which they did not pick here, but it was a dog throwing an apple tree under the sea. And so I had, for some reason, it was just present in my mind when I was making the album. And then finally Burns and I sat and we did the track list, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be called The Apple Tree Under the Sea. And I think that it was like, okay, like, like, all right. But I really gravitated towards it. And yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, forgot the question.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I mean, obviously, like it kind of ends up being, the sun at which everything is kind of orbiting around in like a really random way. But like, there's a fair amount of intention there, to the way like the apple kind of like plays a part in the narrative in the new music video,
Yeah.
in sort of the biblical references and sort of like
Yeah.
nods toward things like, temptation in the
Yeah.
songwriting. Like, at what point did you start to realize, okay, wait, the apple means something, and I can start writing around it in a way, and in sort of like a way this thing has like baggage to it, and it has meaning to it. And I don't need to say the things that it means. I can merely reference the apple, and it sort of brings that meaning to the song.
Yeah, I feel like definitely when doing the Red Apple, which for those who don't know is the first track off the album.
Right.
Pretty just like the way to just get into the biblical references. But I was like, I feel like, how do I say? It was doing that and then doing Set Me Free, which I was very like, how do I say? Which is a very I feel like when I was making Set Me Free, like I was like, oh, I want this to be about me opening myself up to the world. And then it ended
Mm.
up being about sex. And I was just like, okay, well, fine. Like if that's what, okay, well, that's not what it means in my head. But I feel like that's what people are going to take it as. That makes sense, like totally. But also, like it was definitely giving like I was like, ooh, like this is giving like temptation, like Eve and the snake, and not that they had sex. Eve and the snake did not have sex, to my
Right.
knowledge. I don't know. I forgot. But I think when making those two tracks, I'm like, wait, this is kind of. I was like, this is kind of cool that what's it called? Like that it's all this is all coming together. This is all coming together. But also for me, I was like, for me, when coming up with that title, I was like, okay, apples, yes, Bible, yes. What's it called? Well, it doesn't really say it to the apple, but we're uh it's like people say it's an apple, so whatever. But what's in the call? I was also like thinking of just like it being like a symbol for enlightenment in a way. Like I was thinking
Right.
of
Yeah. The
Isaac,
apple of knowledge. Yeah.
yeah, the apple of knowledge. And then I was thinking, well, the sea is not the ocean, but I misconstrued it to be the ocean. But whatever. I was like, oh, like the sea is the like kind of like what's it called? Like very like could be this vast unexplored place. And so in a way I felt that as I was making the record, I was finding out like a lot about myself that I didn't really know. And it was like I was literally going underwater and picking these apples under the sea and be like, oh my gosh, that's the one thing I didn't know about myself. Okay. Oh,
Hmm.
you're traumatized. Awesome. Fantastic. What's new? What's new? And so it was nice to have for me it was nice to kind of have those things together and be like, okay, the apple tree under the sea. Yes. And I think it resolved a lot of I don't know because I did struggle with naming the album, and I think it resolved a lot of just tension within me, or I guess anxiety within me with naming stuff.
Hmm. It also well, speaking of naming things, before I actually ask the other question I wanted to ask, can you educate me on how to say how do you say the track WW? Is it whoa, like t- tell me, the reviewer, the proper pronunciation, because I'm stumped on it, honestly. It's probably something that's like just right in front of my face, but
I say WWWWW.
Okay, you say five
I
W's.
say five W's. W times five,
W
but
times five.
I will say WWWWW. I
Okay.
really should have named it a no. You know what? It's that name for a
No,
reason.
it's great. It's great. It's great.
Thank you.
It's just don't be surprised if you see me in the review going whoa 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 whoa. Okay,
I love it. I
that's all I'm saying.
I
But
love it.
also to the points you were just making. But in light of everything that you were saying, even though it is like a shorter album, a lot of personal evolution happens over the course of it, and then you reach this point at the end where you're saying goodbye to the old version of yourself. I mean, are you essentially sort of accepting that as a result of all the things that have happened, I've changed completely, I'm a totally different person now, and now I have to kind of like wave goodbye to this old sort of like, past iteration of myself?
Oh yeah, it's bittersweet in a way. Like I wish well, I feel like I ended on a euphoric note, but I think I
Hmm.
did it. There was like a how do I say? I think it was for me. I wanted to end on a kind of like a bittersweet resolution where it's like, okay. well, that happened and can't change that. And, you know, that's okay. Time to, I was like, accept that I'm just not the person who I was, and I need to, or it's not necessarily like I need to change. Like it's just that, oh, like I just can't be the person who how I knew that I was anymore. And period. Like it's like a period. It's like what happens next? Oh my gosh, wait, like, well, do you find yourself? Like what's going on? It's like, I don't know. Like we're still on this journey.
Hmm.
It could end up bad. I don't know. Stay tuned for the next album where you'll find
So there are a lot of elements of personal discovery in the writing and sort of, the feelings that you're addressing in the songs, but how much of this album do you feel like led you to, I don't know, either a completion of or, a further sort of, ways into just sort of like knowing yourself better just as an artist, like,
out.
what you've been able to pull together here in terms of a sound, which I think is very like, I feel like after this project, I really know like a Hemlock Spring song when I hear it. Like, I feel like if you
Oh, thank
showed me a
you.
new song that was not unreleased, that was unreleased and I didn't know who it was from, I feel like I'd pick it out pretty quickly from like what
Ah,
you've done here. But like,
thank you.
um, how much of what you've sort of like, pulled together from this like almost like period drama synth pop zaniness that you're doing here, like how much of this do you feel like is you and what you do versus maybe this is just what it's going to be right now? Is there a
Mm.
future sort of version of Hemlock Springs where it's like the next album's in space, or what, whatever. We're ditching the capes and we're ditching the robes and we're going to be in a spacesuit. We're going to be up in the space. We're going to be on the moon. I don't know. It's like how much of this do you feel like is what the project is, and you've sort of like finally kind of hammered it out, or this is just like going to be what I'm trying at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think this is definitely like a trying out in the moment, but only because I genuinely didn't think that the project would end up the way that it is now. And like just when making songs, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then the song plays, I'm like, oh great. And I think that I try to just keep that how do I say that mentality so that I don't know, when going into a new song, I'm like, okay, this has to be a period synth. Like we're going back medieval or
Right,
fantasy.
right, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
I was like, what's the fun in that? Like just see where it goes. I personally think that a lot of the demos that like a lot of the ideas, I should say, that I've been doing these days have been a little bit like more like rockier. Bless you.
Sorry.
And no,
if,
don't be
if
no.
if you hear me doing that further into the rest of the interview, just ignore it.
Top it out. No, I love it. Get the phlegm out. But yeah, no, I think that I'm also as clueless as everybody else as to where it goes from here. And that's the beauty of it. Like it's like I think that I'm looking forward to what I can pick out from the stratosphere and what I guess the next like things that are uh how I say that are happening and like musically for me. But it doesn't sound too like it doesn't sound too hot like in terms of just like how I'm doing. Like when I listen to like some of my demos, I'm like, damn, are you okay? Do you need to go there? So I'm hoping that I don't know. I was like, I'll see. I was like, I'll see where things go. And you and just continue picking things out and just riding that wave. No, really pun intended, I guess. I don't know. Let's
Okay.
see.
Yeah, I mean, wave in the sea. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, no, for sure. But like, I guess it's just interesting to hear the ways in which again, you almost like kind of liken it as a discovery, in the way that you're kind of like finding the things that ended up kind of being the various pieces and visuals and sounds that ended up making this record. For you to have like happened upon it in a way as you were kind of tinkering and trying different things, it all ended up being like a very kind of like synergistic thing where there's a lot of cohesion between the things you were saying and the sound of the
Oh, thank
music
you.
and the visuals and all the music videos too.
Thank you.
And you know, from what you've sort of laid out at the start of the conversation in terms of like, you know, your background in chorus, like, you know, what sort of makes sense for you in terms of what sort of like draws you or what makes you successful at the musical component of all of this, I think kind of makes sense given your personal background and history. But like, are there things about, you know, certain interests or hobbies or clubs that you've been in or stuff that you've participated in that makes you sort of take so well to kind of like, you know, writing from the standpoint of a character or world building or sort of like, you know, engaging in this project in a way that's like very theatrical, you know, you're kind of like creating characters and, you know, stories around the things that you're presenting in these music videos in a way that almost seems almost like you have a theater background or something that you haven't told us about yet or whatever. You know, are there other interests that you have going that sort of like make you almost have a knack for these elements too, because, you know, everything's being kind of done at a pretty impressive level in my
Oh,
opinion.
thank you. Thank you. I'm trying. Let's see. What have I missed? Let's see. I'm like, let's see. I was in like I did Battle of the Books.
Hmm.
Wait,
Okay.
do you know Battle of the Books?
No, tell me. What is Battle of the Books?
What? You didn't do it? Oh my gosh. Okay, so wait, somebody in the chat has to know Battle of the
So
Books.
does anybody in chat know what Battle of the Books is? There's got to be somebody, there's got to be some English major nerd in chat right now that knows what Battle of the Books is.
You read like 12 books
Okay,
that are 12 or
somebody
20.
says my students did it. So we have a teacher in
Yeah.
chat who did Battle of the Books.
Yeah, you do like 12 or 24. I don't know if it's 12 or 24 books, but I think it's 12. You read like these 12 books and you go to a competition and they ask you questions about the book and you have to be like, "Oh, or this like that belongs to the answer belongs to this novel." You know what I mean? Insert novel. I don't know.
And what grade was this again?
This is like I 7th through yeah, 7th through 8th.
Getting quizzed on 12 books at once is pretty badass. That's a battle.
Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. I was like, it's a battle. I was like, I did that. I did Math 24. You know Math 24?
Sorry.
No.
No.
What? Okay. Well, somebody in the chat has to know Math 24.
I'm from a different era of schooling. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's like you have four numbers and you have to make 24 with them. But sometimes there's like fractions and decimals,
Okay.
blah blah blah. And I was Math 24 champion in the eighth
Okay.
grade. So yay me.
Shit.
I know, thank you. I feel like let's see. I'm trying to think of other things that I did. Oh, my mom is a very avid reader, I would say. And sometimes she would get like these like the smutty novels and stuff. And she thought that I wouldn't see them, but I did see them. And so when she was asleep, I would go sneak in her room and I would be like, because it has the cover of like somebody looking like promiscuous or something. Just like, oh, yeah. And I was like, intriguing. And I would go and I would read them. I'm like literally airing out all the laundry I feel like I have. Let's see what else. Oh, and I did sewing for like 6 years.
Hmm.
I fear I'm not. I don't know. I don't know why I'm this. I'm like, I was like, I don't know why I create the music I create. Now, like here, maybe there wasn't much going on for me. Maybe that's why I was like,
No,
there
I mean,
wasn't much.
being literarily informed, I feel like is important when it comes to being a writer of any type, even if you're writing lyrics for a pop song.
That's true. I was like,
Yeah.
that's true. And Rhyme Zone helps a lot. I do advocate for Rhyme Zone.
Shout out to Rhyme Zone.
Mm, mm,
We
mm,
all
mm.
yes. Shout out to Rhyme Zone. Yes.
But I think that's it. I think that's all I did. So something happened there.
Listen, it happened, it worked. It's working.
Thank
Um
you.
in the spirit of I wanted to ask again because I had this sense that you were a well-read individual. In the spirit of the new Wuthering Heights movie, is there an English lit classic that you would kill to soundtrack just completely on your own? If there was a new film adaptation?
Okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna go kind of basic, but maybe that's because I really like
That's
the
fine.
adaptation of this film. I like the 2005 adaptation of Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley and that. Oh, I forgot the name of the dude who was in Succession. But like,
Yes. Yeah.
if they ever if they ever do another Pride and Prejudice remake, which like why at this point? There's a lot, but if they ever did, I'm here. I'm available.
After this conversation, I'm gonna tell my partner you said that she's gonna scream her brains out.
Really? But the
Yes,
Wuthering
yes.
Heights soundtrack was so good. I believed it was really, really good. And just like what's in the call? I loved House. And I like I was like my favorite song on the track on the album. And I yeah, no, and I'm definitely I would love to get on that vibe. But I don't think that Pride and Prejudice is doing another remake. Or maybe they are. I don't know. They do it like every couple of years or so. Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Mm.
You know, all I know is that the version that you just said is like peak. Then there's Wishbone, the Wishbone version.
The Wishbone version?
See, this is the different. See, we're talking about different like education eras, so on and so forth. Even chat has me fucked up. After I said what I said earlier, this guy said Child Left Behind Fantano. Child Left Behind came after me. That came after me. Okay, I remember 9/11. That was y'all.
I'm dead. That was y'all.
Y'all were the children left behind, not me. That happened after me. Okay, you were the children left behind. That's why you're in chat right now. All right. No, it was this kid show from back in the day where this little tiny sort of terrier type dog taught kids to read, and he would be characters from the books. And there's a Pride and Prejudice episode where he's Mr. Darcy, and he's like you could look up Wishbone, YouTube, Pride and Prejudice, and it's this cute little, you know, sort of a children's show where a little tiny dog is Mr. Darcy, and it's all grown-ups and humans like actually interacting with the dog, being the other people in your fucking mind is blown.
I'm sorry.
You're like,
I have never heard such
you're like, I can't imagine a reality where this is real. What the fuck are you talking about?
Really? Wait, that's so awesome.
The 90s were a goated era for kids television, okay? The 90s. Yes, you're right. It was a Jack Russell. It was a Jack Russell Terrier named Wishbone. And every episode of every show was a different book. And he would sort of like, you know, be a character in a story of a certain classic book.
Like reading, well, not like Reading Rainbow, but maybe a little bit.
Yeah, not like Reading Rainbow, but yeah, a Reading Rainbow type vibe
Between
in terms
the
of
lines,
we're going to get
maybe?
kids excited about, you know, reading.
Oh my! Wait, I'm typing that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you need to type down Wishbone, Pride and Prejudice.
Wishbone, Pride and Prejudice.
Episode. Like a lot of the episodes are on YouTube.
What? Oh my gosh! Wait, but when did that? How old are you? I'm sorry.
40.
Wait, that was
I'm 40. I'm
Oh,
40.
really?
Yes.
Oh, I thought
Yes.
you were a little bit younger. That's why.
Thank you. It's because I exfoliate and I'm
man.
not a heavy drinker and I'm vegan, so you know it all kind of comes together. Probably some Italian genes in there too.
Oh, that would do it, huh?
I
Yeah.
absorb a little more sun than your average white person.
I'm dead. I
So
love that for you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
Appreciate that. This is one of the craziest interviews I've done in a minute.
Really?
I'm just saying that. I'm just putting that out there. So I hope everybody's entertained. The chat sort of seems to be pretty hype about it. But you know what? One thing I wanted to say, and now that we've gotten loose at this point, I will tell a personal story here and ask you also sort of like the source of the inspiration for The Sense is Prelude. Because, you know, that is the only track on the album where there is like a theater of the mind thing going on, where you sort of like have this, you know, like outside setting with the music kind of playing in the background. You hear the kids yelling, and then you hear that adult person, you know, sort of like yelling as well. And I was outside taking a night walk, and I was like, the fuck? It was like there's something. It was like a child screaming. I was ready to jump into action and sort of just be like, is someone killing a kid? Like, what's going on? And then I heard an adult, and then I was like, and then I heard the music more. I was like, wait, is it in my headphones? And then, so aside from scaring the shit out of me, what was the point of doing that? I guess is my question. Aside from fucking with me,
I felt like I felt like I needed a reset almost because I think that I feel like album is very like it's very like it's dense. It's a ride, and I was like,
yeah,
okay,
it's banger, 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 banger.
Oh, thank you.
There's no breathing moments. You're like bop, bop, bop.
Exactly, and so I'm like, let's have a breathing moment, but also kind of reset because I feel like this is coming. I feel like we started kind of like intense, and I think that we can lyrically what's it called, and maybe even like sonically, like maybe just like take it a step back or two and then continue kind of because I don't think I really removed that intensity with the upcoming song or with the songs that follow.
Right.
But I wanted to at least lyrically like be like, okay, like let's get a little bit like just a little bit more like a little like tearful and stuff. But I felt like I had to do that. Like I felt I had to do that with an interlude. I'm like, okay, let's pause. That was a lot, huh? Okay, yeah, take a breather, get a sip of water.
Right.
It's like a movie. It was like, wait, hold on, pause. Like, let me just reset a little bit. Okay, we can continue now. And so that's what I wanted the interlude to serve as.
Okay. All right, that works. Well, I mean, I guess in terms of like, was that like a found recording or the kid and the adult there? Is that setting or is that recording come from a certain experience or something that sort of like was reminiscent of, obviously like senses to follow?
Yeah, no, I definitely hear like children screaming when I dream.
Oh,
And
hey, we all hear something. We all hear something, and nobody chooses what they hear when they dream. So it's live your truth.
I was like, I think like I was like, I think like I don't I'm gonna sound a little bit weird if I feel like if I say that. So sometimes I just hear voices and like I think that I was there was I forget what I whisper. I'll have to look it up, but I was like hearing some whispering and nobody was in the house. Or like where I was living, nobody was there. So I'm like, oh, it's just me. Cool. I swear I'm good. Like I don't blah, blah, blah. And I would how they say I was hearing some whispering, like must have been like a creak or something like that. And then from that, I remembered, oh, you took not Italian, what's it called? You took Latin. I was like, you took Latin class. Let's like go like look like let's go look up some Latin stuff. And then I looked that up, and I was like, oh, let's see, where I was kind of just going. A lot of things just happened that kind of just that just came together. So what's the call? So I was going on Splice, like I found these like I think that's the only track I did by myself. And it was how they say it, created it really deep into the night, found these children. I'm just like, yes. Yes, I do. I was like, I do feel like I want to talk to my inner child today. I think in the middle of the night, and I do think I want to whisper in Latin. And I wish I wrote somewhere because it is pertinent. I wrote it somewhere what I was whispering, and so I just started there and started kind of layering things. And it's nice working at night. I feel like because nobody's awake. Well, night, but I mean like more like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Nobody's awake. It's really quiet. I can focus on my thoughts, which is like a great thing, but also a nightmare. But in that way, it was a great thing to kind of just get my mind around just like what am I hearing? Why am I hearing it? And then that's what led me to senses. But I feel like the transition to it might be a bit like, oh, like I didn't think that census was going to sound like, or I didn't think the census prelude would let's see, sound like census. No, what am I trying to say? Like, I guess like upon, I don't know. I don't really know what I was trying to say. Anyway, that happens a lot. But does that make sense? And did I kind of sound like a crazy person?
You made as much sense as I think you possibly could. It was a crazy question. It was a it was a crazy question. It was a question asked out of fear, you know, and that's what they tell you in interview school. Never ask a question out of fear.
What?
You know?
Oh my! You have to. You do things out of you.
No, I'm kidding. I was telling you that the reason I asked was just because I got scared when I was listening to it. I was taking
I'm
a walk because I thought it was real. I thought it was actually happening around me.
Glad to have scared you.
Yeah,
on your walk.
It's all right.
Were you walking at night?
Yeah, take a night walk. You're up. Don't judge me. You're up late thinking of things. You're just talking about how you're up late doing thoughts and stuff and doing whatever.
That's male privilege. No way. Wait.
It's also very it's also very much living on a dead end privilege.
I'm dead. That is true. I was like a walk. Were you alone?
Yeah, just isolated area. Nothing else is going on.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I apologize for my male privilege and taking a night walk. I apologize.
No, we love night walks in theory. In practice.
In practice, no. I understand.
No. I was like, even for you, like, make sure you're just be safe out there, okay?
Who's gonna do what to me? Someone.
Oh, no. I was trying to look. You're like, who's gonna fuck with me? Like, realistically,
you know, honestly, like for all the crazy shit that I read on the internet, if somebody wanted to do something to me, it'd be when I'm walking down the street in Boston or something. You know?
What do Bostonians have against?
Oh, no, nothing specifically about Boston. You know, it's just people recognize me on the street and they're like, "Oh, hey, it's Anthony Fantano. Oh my god!"
Oh.
You know, and it's like you have to figure, like, with all the stuff on the internet, like, at least some of those people seeing me, maybe not the ones saying hi, you know, at least some of the people are seeing me at one point have said on the internet, "I'll fucking kill you," you know, for your Deftones review. I don't know. You know, I have to have walked by that guy at least one time and he didn't kill me.
So you have survived multiple attacks.
Yeah. Mental attacks.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
People in their own minds. Yeah, someone sees Fantano on his night walks, and then the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy reviews flash before their eyes, and they see red. Yes.
Wait, what did you rate that project?
Oh, it's like a 6. We gave it like a 6 or whatever.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not
honestly, yeah, I get that guy, low key. I understand. But that's the beauty of opinions. You know what I mean? And
you know, look, just take solace in the fact that I'm going to rate your album higher. Okay, you're going to get a better rating. You're getting a better rating. So you know, that's all. And
6.1. Well, you don't do 0.1.
Yeah, I don't do the 0.1. You forgot who you're talking to. This isn't a pitchfork interview. What's going on over here? It's in a pitchfork conversation. The hell? Shout out to them though. Shout out to them. Have they reviewed your album yet?
No, I don't think they'll like it, but it's okay.
Come on. They should. They should like it.
It's all I'll literally, and I'm dead ass. I'll take anything that I can. I think honestly, a bad review might do me good, you know, like for like attention. Like I'll take it. I'm not asking for it, but I'll take the fact that like you know, like people even tune in and like rate and stuff.
You know, I'm not saying it's going to come from me because you know I like the record, but you know, a bad review could be a good experience. Just see what the Lockets do.
I'm dead.
You know,
they're usually tame, but they might knuck them back. I don't know.
They haven't been tested. They haven't been tested yet. They haven't been tested yet. You don't have any bad reviews. You don't have any haters. You don't have anybody coming for your neck yet. You know, like the Lockets have to be tested at some point.
Yeah.
You know, so we're gonna have to see what they do.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. You know, I mean, what I was saying earlier. Maybe it's only because I haven't been confronted by a locket yet. You know?
Oh,
if I see three lockets like coming down the street wrapping a chain around their fists,
Like,
like
that'll be the day. I
yeah,
was like,
you'd be like, oh shit.
no, I think lockets have weak wrist. They
Oh
have
shit.
weak. They have weak. We don't fight. We're
Oh
Is that the word pacifist?
yeah,
We're
they're
pacifist.
pacifists.
We're
Yeah.
pacifists. At least,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. You know.
Okay.
So, I would like to think so.
Mhm. Let's give them a little bit something and ask look, for somebody who's at the point where you are now, where you've just released your first album, you're pretty road experienced, having opened for some pretty large artists already at this point on multiple tours. How much of that and how much of what you've just done on this album here has kind of caused you to sort of like think about what you're going to do for this tour for this album?
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking in terms of like the presentation and the set list and how exactly you're going to pull it all off? What is the
Yeah.
plan so far in your head?
Well, we're figuring it out. I think that I was like, it's weird. It's weird. It's not weird. It's awesome that I have been able to join such cool artists and be able to open for such awesome artists. And like, I see how like their fans dress up. I see the community. I see like what, I don't know, and like Lockets tell me what they want all the time. And so it's nice I think for me, my goal is to just combine my desires, which is like, oh, like I like y'all to dress up. Like let's think of like themes and like let's think of like things to do. I also need to think of what I'm going to wear. Oh God. But then also like what eh, yeah, I feel like my desires and Lockett's desires, they align. And so I think for me, like I really want I want the tour to feel as otherworldly as maybe some people like think like the album is, or like how like people have heard the album. Like I want the tour to emulate that. That's a better way of saying that. And so it's for me, like it's just a matter of I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out in May. I've been thinking, but I had a
leave them guessing. It's fine.
Yeah,
leave them guessing.
Yeah.
We'll find out in May.
We'll find out in May. I
We'll
promise.
find out then.
It'll be good though. It'll be good though. And I've been practicing, and I actually have been planning. I thought of all the things, and I'm like, it's like me starting ideas but never finishing them. Like I need to finish the ideas, but I'm excited.
Okay. All
Is
right.
that like a PR answer?
No. I think we've had very few PR answers and questions across this whole thing. We're both getting canceled after this. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Hemlock Springs, thank you very much for taking the time. Talk to me about the record, explain the interlude that scared me. And for everybody who is watching either now or afterwards on YouTube, The Apple Tree Under the Sea is out now. Listen to it, stream it, hear the album. And again, thank you guys very much for watching, and thank you for taking the time.
Same here. I've been a fan since you recommended spelling. So I am just so thankful and grateful. And I sweated bullets during this interview because, again, like I really do tune in. So
okay, go chill out. The interview's over. You passed with flying colors. You did a great job. Chat's excited. Chat's saying you did a great job.
Thank you,
They're clapping for you as well.
Thank you.
And we'll see you out there on the tour in May.
Oh, really? Where?
Wait, didn't you just say you were touring in May?
Oh, I thought you said that you were going, and I was like, where are you?
I could go. Are you going to be on the East Coast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can I ask where you live, or is that too?
Not live on the internet.
Okay. No, I'm not, like, okay. But I was like, I DM, like state-wise. I'm like, I don't know where you're at.
Yeah, I'm in New England.
What's New England, New Hampshire? Like, what's New England?
New Hampshire's in New England. Boston's in New England. Vermont's in New England. Connecticut's in New England.
Okay.
Rhode Island's in New England. It's just all the
Ah.
little tiny states where they originally started ruining things.
Oh.
You know? Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the interview. Yeah.
And that's the interview. Hemlock Springs, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All
You
right. Bye.
too.